So look, we've all been playing around with AI chatbots, right? Things like ChatGPT or Gemini. You type in a question, you get back an answer. It feels pretty straightforward. But what if I told you that simple back and forth, that's not the real game changer? There's a huge difference between an AI that just replies to you and an AI that actually acts for you. And trust me, once you get that distinction, it changes everything. I mean, we ask these things to do some pretty incredible stuff, don't we? Write our emails, help us debug code, even plan out a birthday party. It really does feel like magic. But is this cycle of ask and answer, is that really the peak? Is this as good as it gets? Or is it just the tip of the iceberg? Let's try to think about it this way. The tools that have been blowing our minds for the last couple of years are, when you boil it down, just incredibly sophisticated answering machines. And once that clicks, once you really see it that way, you can start to understand the massive leap we're about to take to something way more powerful, the AI agent. Okay, so before we get to where we're going, we need to be totally clear about where we are right now. What is a chatbot really? What are its actual fundamental limitations? This is probably the best analogy I've heard. Imagine your smartest friend is locked in a room. No internet, no phone, no windows, completely cut off. You can slide a note with a question under the door, and in a moment, they'll slide a brilliant, well-written reply back out. But that's where it ends. The whole interaction is just that one note in, one note out. So technically, this is all based on something called a request-response model. And what that really means is, even if you're having a long conversation, the AI's entire world is just that chat window. It doesn't have any real memory of past tasks, and this is the big one. It has zero ability to do anything out in the real world. It's incredibly smart, sure, but it's also completely passive. All right, now let's flip that idea on its head. Let's contrast that passive, locked-in-a-room model with something active. This is where we finally meet the AI agent. And here it is. This is the absolute game-changing shift. An agent doesn't just sit there waiting for your next question. You don't give it a question at all, really. You give it a goal, and then it figures out all the steps it needs to take, all on its own, to make that goal happen. Here's another way to think about it. A chatbot is basically a consultant. You go to it with a problem, and it gives you a brilliant, detailed plan on how to solve it. But then, you have to go and do all the work yourself. An agent, on the other hand, is the contractor. You just tell it, I want this, and it goes out, gets the tools, buys the materials, and gets the job done. So what really makes an agent an agent? Well, it all comes down to these three pillars. First, it has memory, so it can keep track of what it's already done and what still needs to be done. Second, it has access to tools. It can browse the web, use software, connect to other apps. And finally, it can plan. It can look at a big, complex goal and break it down into a series of smaller, logical steps. If you take away any one of these, you're basically back to just having a chatbot. All right, so theory is one thing, but let's make this super clear with a real-world example, putting them head to head. Let's imagine this is your goal. It's a pretty common task, right? Something you might need for work. And you're going to give it this exact same prompt to a chatbot and to an AI agent. Okay, so the chatbot, it's going to do its best. It'll search through its massive library of training data and write a really confident-sounding report. But here's the problem. That data could be months or even a couple of years out of date. It has no way of checking what happened yesterday. It gives you an answer, and then it stops. The job of fact-checking and verifying everything is now on you. Now, the agent. It gets the same goal, but it starts a process. It immediately understands it needs up-to-the-minute info, so its first step is to plan to search the web. It might go to a few different tech news sites, pull out the names of companies that just got funding, cross-check that info to make sure it's accurate, and only then does it write the report. And here's the crazy part. It decided to do all of that by itself. You just gave it the end goal. So you can see this isn't just some neat tech demo. This shift from simply replying to actively doing things has huge, huge implications for all of us. Think about your own life. This is the difference between you opening 10 different browser tabs to plan a vacation versus just saying, plan my trip to Goa next month, find the best flights and a hotel in my budget, book them, and put it all on my calendar. See? The agent goes from being an assistant that gives you information to an assistant that actually gets things done for you. And for businesses, wow, the potential is just massive. You're talking about automating entire workflows that used to need whole teams of people. things like onboarding a new customer or analyzing sales data or handling support tickets. And it's not just about making big companies more efficient. For a small startup, an agent can give them the power and capability of a much, much bigger company. It's a total equalizer. So let's just bring it all home. If you only remember one thing from this, make it this. A chatbot replies, an agent acts. A chatbot answers a question, an agent completes a goal. We are moving from an era of AI that talks to us to an era of AI that does things for us. So I want you to think about that for a second. Now that you know what an AI agent can actually do, what is the first annoying, complicated, multi-step task in your life that you would just hand over to one? Because that future where you can do exactly that, it's getting here a lot faster than you think.